Top Hill Recording Podcast, episode 196.1. Tonight's guest, Sydney Sleadd.
Fresh tattoos got the bleeds. A little piece of a song you said reminded you of me. Now it's painted on my back for all the other boys to see. Fighting this same hangover for a little over a year. These days strung together with failures and fears. My tank's stuck on empty, I've grinded up the gears. But I could linger a while, let you swallow my smile with cheap blows to the heart. Your every kiss has its cost, with great love comes great loss. I should have stopped at the start, oh, I should have stopped at the digging through those old photos, smoke my last cigarette. These little things I remembered not to forget. What a picture perfect plan to fuel my regrets. Never really belonged here, but you never seemed to care. Me with my bandana and boots up to there. The blade in your pocket and that dapper Dan hair. Oh, I could linger a while, let you swallow my smile with cheap blows to the heart. Your every kiss has its cost, but great love comes great loss. I should have stopped at the start, oh, I should have stopped at the I got so much to lose. Your softest touch leaves a bruise. Shades of lilac and blues. Though I know it ain't right, I'm much too tired to fight. Guess I'll come stay the night. Come on, babe, kill the lights. Suppose I'll linger a while, let you swallow my smile with cheap blows to the heart. Your every kiss has its cost, but great love comes great loss. I should have stopped at the start, oh, I should have stopped at the start. I should have stopped at the start, oh, I should have stopped at the start. I should have stopped at the start. I should have ripped it apart. I should have stopped at the start, oh, I should have stopped at the
Yeah, all right. Woo! Nice. Great tune.
this way no more. See, I checked my dignity at that front door. And baby spread her knees for a man of ill rapport. She says, no, I ain't gonna come down this way no more. But I didn't get paid, so you can't call me no whore. She says I need some kind of vacation. I lost my hope and my inspiration, and no one's looking to help a wretch like me. But I tried to keep it all together. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. She thumbed up from Savannah, pockets filled with crushed opana. She says, no, I ain't gonna go down that way again. Oh, I'll be your lover, but I ain't gonna be your friend. She crashed into the bar wearing nothing but that guitar. She says, no, I ain't gonna come down this way again. Had the face of an angel, but a body built for sin. She says I need some kind of vacation. I lost my hope and my inspiration, and no one's looking to help a wretch like me. But I tried to keep it all together. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. She woke up in the gutter, cursed her God and called her mother. She says, no, I don't know how I got me this far down, and I can't tell how much longer I'll stick around. She jumped up off her back and headed straight for those train tracks. She says, no, I ain't gonna come down this way no more. Oh, this burden life of mine's become a bore. She says I need some kind of vacation. I lost my hope and my inspiration, and no one's looking to help a wretch like me. But I tried to keep it all together. Yes, I did. Oh, I tried to keep it all together. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah.
One, two, three, four. Folks with candles in the streets, like fireflies at glacial speeds, wonder who is dead this week. Politicians on the screen, a clever suit, he's promising things that are beyond his reach. We all get tired sometimes, it seems. Our IRAs replaced our dreams, fabric splitting at the seams. risked your all, and all it costs you is your soul. But it's coming down, and no one even knows. Almost over now, but please enjoy the show. Huddled masses looking down, their faces twisted into frowns. Learn to swim or gas, you'll drown. Pastors telling you to pray, and all good things will come your way. Just tithe until his mansion's paid. Cops and robbers, saints and whores, false dichotomies and wars. Is anybody keeping score? And hope it is a feathered thing, but like anything that's born with wings, it leaves no matter how you cling. But it's coming down, and no one even knows. Almost over now, but please enjoy the show. We're so off track. This place feeds on lack, but we're content to just sit back. 'Cause flowers grow in sidewalk cracks. One day soon we won't even have that, 'cause it's coming down, and no one even knows. Almost over now, but please enjoy the show.
Yeah. Great song.
Well, it ain't been a month yet since I put you down, but I'm falling in love once a night in this town. Strange beds where I'm sleeping, drinks I've been drinking, they ain't home, but they'll do for now. And shame's an emotion that fades over time, with a little persistence and a lot of cheap wine. All the hearts I've been breaking, mistakes I keep making, they ain't home, but they'll do for now. 'Cause you said if I loved you, then this ought to kill me. And I feel so guilty for not feeling guilty. No, I don't feel guilty. forget you. 'Cause I can't.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Tonight's guest, Sydney Sleadd and company. Who you have with you, Sydney?
Got the Swarm of Bees here. Jay Mitchell and Colby T.
All right. Well, welcome, Colby and Jay. Man, this is the first recording we've done in this studio, and I feel like we owe it to the listening audience to let you guys know we just had about 10 minutes of conversation.
Really
and
good
all
conversation.
The most amazing conversation.
It was really good.
conversation ever.
It was really good.
And in all the mess of moving the studio and everything being in a few different places, somebody, we're not going to lay any blame, but forgot to hit record.
Oops. Oops.
All right, but we're here now for our first recording in Top Hill Recording Studio B.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I'm real excited about it. I
Very
love
nice.
this spot that you've got. Real nice, warm, welcoming vibe here. Sounds great. And we're just excited to kick it off, you know. First one's in the new studio. As Jay always says, if you ain't first, you're last. So write that down. But seriously, it's been a great experience so far. And this seems like really, I don't know what your other digs were like, but this spot is pretty incredible.
Awesome.
And the bar's been set.
Bar's been,
Yeah.
the bar's been set high with these guys for sure.
Yeah, that was
For
awesome.
sure. I wish I could get as excited about it as I was the first time. I'm so bummed right now. The weight of the responsibility. Anyway, all right, you guys. All apologies. I'm glad you're still sticking in there and
yeah.
happy to be here. So,
All right, Sydney, we're going to start. We're going to ask you to go back to childhood and tell us about your early memories of music. And then if there's some place in your life that stands out as a time when you knew this was going to be a big part of your life, music, when that might have been.
Sure. So I grew up around music. I basically grew up in the Rudyard Kipling, if you're familiar
Oh, yeah.
with that spot. Yeah,
Oh,
Kenny
yeah.
Pyle, the whole gang. My mom and dad were really into playing music. My mom played some open mics. She played piano and sang and wrote songs. And my dad listened to weird music. He liked, what is that called? Tower of Power and Average White Band, kind of some like funkier
All right.
stuff. So we go see acts like that play. But it was always around. My mom was more of a Joni Mitchell, Alanis Morissette girl herself. But it was kind of ever present with my mom playing piano in the house and me being around a lot of live music. But it's strange to me, like I didn't really know that this was for me until much later on. I taught myself how to play piano when I was like 8 or 9 just because I was bored, and this was like the 90s and we didn't have internet, so I was like not an only child. I had a half brother, but he was at his dad's a lot, so I'd just be like in my room, and she got me one of those keyboards where the keys light up. And so like I kind of learned how to play by ear based on that. I learned all the songs and little directory that it had, the song bank. And then years later in high school, I was in choir. They made me an alto, which I took to mean that I suck, you know, like that's not the cool section. You're an alto, basically singing like one note for 5 minutes. And it wasn't until I got a fake ID and started sneaking into bars, and I went to this karaoke bar and sang, what was the song? Stormy Weather. And people were like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know, what is that? Like, I'd never really considered myself a singer or knew that that was a thing. And so that really helped me out with like confidence. And then later I learned how to play guitar. I taught myself using YouTube videos. And it was after that that I wrote my first song. Like, it's kind of a culmination of lots of different experiences. And I think I was 18 or 19 years old when I wrote my first song. And it was after just, you know, first gut-wrenching, kill your soul heartbreak. And there was nothing else that I could do but write a song. And it was then, too, that I realized that, you know, music was going to be an important outlet for me. I had written like really bad angsty poetry as a teenager, so I was used to like writing about things, but then it was like the playing of the guitar and the singing all kind of combined. And once I started, I didn't stop. I just started like pumping out songs about different feelings. And in the early ages of songwriting, I very much treated it like a diary, to where it was like, this is a thing that happened to me, instead of writing about other people's experiences or observations. It was like, no, this is some terrible shit that happened in my life, and I'm going to sing about it to like get it out of my system. I still do that sometimes. That's not completely gone. I've expanded a little bit. But from there, I think after writing my first song and then showing it to a friend of mine that I really respected who was a musician, and he was like, holy shit, dude, like you can sing and you can write and now you can play a guitar, like do something. I was like, well, I will. Okay, then. That was the beginning.
Yeah. How old were you when you played out for the public the first time?
Oh gosh, probably about 19 or 20, and I remember it very vividly. My friends convinced me after I'd written a couple of songs, and it's so funny because it's now the Monarch. So it's the Bear Nose.
Bear Nose, okay.
On
Bear Nose
Bardstown
Highlands.
Road,
Okay.
and they had it in that like back, the outside room, and there was this like rickety little stool that you sit on, and it's like you play 3 songs. And I was sitting up there, and I was shaking so bad, and the stool had a wobble that I was just like wobbling all over the place, trying to. I was having a panic attack. I was like certain I was going to forget all the words. My voice was like real shaky, and then it was done. Like I'd played 3 songs in front of a crowd of other people, and nobody booed me. I didn't completely bomb, and that set me up for more. I really started with like the open mics just to get comfortable playing live and getting my wits about me and trying to learn about all the other aspects of like what is gain, like what's an amplifier, like how do you use all these things.
I think if I remember right, I think Alana Fugate was running that.
Yep.
That's the
She
thing.
ran, there were so many of them. I think she did run the Baronos one. There was
I
another
think she
one.
worked there at one
Yep.
point, and that's how I think knew that she ran that one.
Yeah, that checks out because I met a lot of really cool musicians doing that too. They had the ones at the Corner Door too. Yeah, there's been a lot of incredible open mics around town for years.
Yeah, Earl talks about that a lot.
I love the open mics. Yep,
Yeah.
That's where I started going out. That's where I've met most of the people I know. And yeah, I think that's a great place for anyone to go.
I wonder
out to.
if like Katie did it, knows Alana and kind of took the reins from her, because Alana used to do that. She used to have a few places that she would run open mics for, and was a real advocate for local musicians. And then Katie does that a ton for local musicians, and it seems like somebody always has a story where they say, yeah, Katie encouraged me at this open mic to do this thing. Taylor, I know Taylor Catherine's one of them. I believe you've talked about.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If it wasn't for Katie, I would never have played music. Those open mics are important when you don't, especially if you're doing songs that you wrote. It's hard to get up there and sing a song you wrote, and the people that encourage you and say you did a good job, those are the ones. Like, it just takes 1 or 2 people to tell you that you can do it, to go do it, because there's definitely, I've been to open mics that were shitty and it sucks.
Yeah, I think everybody can speak to this, but if you go to an open mic, especially if you're new and you put yourself out there on any level, and you get a positive response, it goes so much further than a paycheck at the end of a 3-hour gig or anything like that, especially if you're doing your own original stuff and really giving it a shot, and you get a response, and people really, that's the thing that I love about this music community. And Earl has literally talked about this for a few weeks. Like, I'm looking forward to that. And I know you know that because of the 15-minute podcast prior to this podcast, he mentioned it a couple of times. But, being able to have people like Earl saying, man, this is going to be an awesome one, and know the circle, and be so positive towards other musicians and want their success and things like that. I believe that open mic scene is a huge part of why that ends up translating into.
It definitely is. I feel like there's a lot of people around that I've heard, like, years past, like, Louisville music scene was a little bit more competitive. I don't know if that's true because I wasn't really around before like 2020, but old heads used to say it was like different. Mm-hmm. But everyone, it really is. They want you to succeed, and I think that's really cool. When I see friends like have a big show or like put out a new album, like, everyone is like, great job. Like, no one seems bitter. No one seems like, I feel like that's what it's about. Yeah. Like, we're not really in competition with each other. We should want everyone to succeed.
Yeah. Well, you guys kind of embodied that. You talked about in the first podcast, how Jay came to you through another musician, and another musician plays with him, and now, and just how that intermixes. I may have got that weirdly worded, but how everybody intermixes and other people's bandmates play with other people, and just it creates that. Do you all, you've talked about kind of just being out in this form for just let's say half a year. Have you noticed in like the community embracing you in any way? Have you felt like when you've played out that you've really gotten support from other musicians and other people that are more than just audience members, people that are a part of the craft?
Yeah, for sure. I had played, I went to see Tyler Lance Walker Gill play at the Monarch.
We love him.
And he did this super cool, like Roger Miller clinic. He's like, I only want to play it with my full band, but if I'm not playing with my full band, if you want me for a solo gig, I'm only playing Roger Miller. And they were like, deal.
We got
it
that
was
version.
incredible. It was so good. And so afterwards, I was like, hey, I don't play like straight country music anymore like I did when I was Alabama Brown, but we've got some, y'all alternative vibes in there somewhere, or as I like to call it, I stole it from somebody else and he stole it from me, but Ameri-Kinda, in there. And he was like, why don't you come play Tuesday night at this Tiger Tonkin thing at the Whirling Tiger? We do it every Tuesday. And he does like a cool little interview thing.
Yep.
Oh, his
and
thing is crazy.
We love it.
Nuts.
We definitely
with all the
want to get
sound
him in
effects
here.
and stuff. It's so fun.
He's so fun.
He is. He's like a game show host in the best way possible.
Yes.
Both of us had just come back from the Kentucky State Fair, and both of us had gotten really bad belt buckles. And I'm like, you're like the male version of me. Like, this is insane. You're also so extra. He's fantastic. So it was just like, I happened to go to his show, talk to him after it, got that gig. It works a lot like that in Louisville. If you're willing to support other people, then they support you. We've seen a lot of that. And the shows that we've played, we've gotten a lot of really good feedback. I've had people that are like, hey, if you need any of this on your album, holler at me. Like, I won't, no studio fees or, session player charges. I'd be happy to just participate and be a part of it. So we've gotten a lot of love. I will say for the record, though, drummers are scarce and no one can have Colby. If you're watching this and you saw him and he's excellent, all the drummers are already in 5 bands. He's ours.
That's
We're
a fact.
stingy. We're
That's a
stingy
fact.
here.
You shouldn't have said his name.
But I'm cheap and I'm for sale.
He is very cheap.
No.
Yeah, man, he's gonna be wanting to play bass soon. He's gonna be playing keyboards and guitar and shit. He's gonna be like, man, just give me a bass.
I think we need to ask Jay how how they met up and how the trio got started.
Yeah,
we definitely,
Jay,
we definitely have to hear
take
that
it.
story.
Yeah, I haven't
Can't be
heard
a
that
new one.
story
It's got to be a
yet.
new story, man.
Well, it's a little complicated. Colby and I got it starts. I was trying to extort my grandmother for money for
The yo-yos?
It was a singular yo-yo. It was a collector
Was the one.
yo-yo owned by famed movie star Danny Glover, who's a yo-yo enthusiast. And I got into some trouble, and Colby, I was at my arraignment for extorting my grandmother for yo-yo money, and Colby was in line behind me at the arraignment, and he was just like playing with pencils like on a pew, and I was like, dude, you gotta be a sick drummer. Like, yeah. He was like, I am a sick drummer, actually. And so we started a band called Doxy Flare, and we were at a Halloween Spirit in Athens, Georgia, and Sydney was working at the Spirit Halloween, and we were like, she was singing as she was like putting up these Halloween masks, and we were like, dude, this is it right here. We're like, do you write songs? She was like, I do fucking write some songs. Let's all move to Louisville, Kentucky, and get internships at Daryl Isaac's law firm to support ourselves playing in a power trio. That's
exactly what happened.
In a
In a
nutshell.
nutshell, that's exactly what happened. That's how it went.
A few nuts
A
in
fairy
shell.
tale
Sounded
with
familiar.
yo-yos and Daryl Isaacs and Spirit Halloween stores. Magical.
I heard
Dude,
that-
my grandma died like a year later. It
Oh.
was like, it didn't even matter that I extorted her for the yo-yo
Wow.
money.
Yeah. Good luck.
Freaking grandma spent all that time in court for nothing. I assume the Hammer was your attorney.
Actually, he represented My grandmother.
Was that part of the punishment? You
She
had to
was the
come work?
injured party, his personal injury. You hadn't been injured.
They used
You were
to-
not the victim.
They used to hook up back in the day, so he did her a favor. And she
So
did a test.
She knows how he got the nickname
She,
the Hammer.
she
knows.
tested to the nicknames. They're all
Grandma
true.
knows, dude.
The heavy hitter is the way to go.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Yep.
I'm going to touch
All
base
right.
on the real story, actually. They're both from Seymour, and they grew up together. And Jay had played music. He was coming down to Louisville with, what was the name of the thing again? What was your gig with Sean Boy?
I played in a band called Blunt Honey for a while.
But what were you
It's a
first?
great
Because that was
name.
It's a
one.
great
Was it
name.
Blunt Honey before Emily joined?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it was Kirky Franz. for a
Kirky
while.
Franz. Okay,
And
Kirky
then it was
Franz.
Blunt Honey.
So I'd started
I
playing
think
out
Jay,
under
you got to
the.
go to for band names.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know,
man,
I'm about to steal that.
he has a note on his phone with like 20 of them at
Are you
all
serious?
times.
There's way more than 20.
Way more than
What's your
20.
favorite?
Is there
Jay?
any way you would bring that out and just start reading them?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dude.
Yep. All right.
Were they
Finish this
passionate?
story.
Were
I
they
need one
copywritten?
here.
I already got a few of them memorized.
They're
'cause,
all, as soon as you say them on this podcast, they're copywritten, dude.
Yeah,
all
they're-
right.
these are not for you.
Let's see. So the first one is going to be it's a surf rock band, a Japanese surf rock band fronted by Shaquille O'Neal. And the band are Japanese guys wearing lab coats, and it's called Shacupuncture.
That's pretty good. I like it.
Let's see. So this, I thought a good rap name would be like a rap group would be like Forced Fatherhood. Would be a. Colby
was
knows
not
about
very
that.
good.
Colby knows some about that. Then they just get obnoxious, like fuck Stampede. What even is fuck Stampede?
It's a cool song name. I think.
Cow Juice.
Cow juice.
Another cool song name.
Another surf rock band, all female, touring once a month, called the Periodicals.
It's great. So good.
Have I canceled the band yet?
So when we were coming up with the Soft Heat, which was going to be our duo, I put the name White Belly out there, and he hated it. What was the other one?
Why did
Corn
you hate
Lily?
White Belly?
White Belly.
Because I thought
he
White
fucking
Belly
has
like
one.
literally could be like a white supremacist group.
Okay.
That's what
white
it just screamed
underbelly
white
of it.
belly to me. That's how I heard it.
And you
when she
pronounce
said
it like that.
But you put the H in
All
there.
right, did anybody get a red belly when you were a kid?
A red belly?
Yeah. So they
like a
would
disease?
Did you ever get a red
Oh
belly?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I've ever had one.
Oh yeah, you just I got abused as a kid. I think they just throw you down, and they pull up your shirt, and then they smack you on your belly.
Oh, like a nature boy slap?
Yeah, basically red belly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Red belly. That'd be all right.
Yeah. Red
Maybe.
belly.
Red belly.
See, it's a red belly.
There you go.
It might be. I don't know. It
How
might
about
be
red,
bad.
white, and blue belly?
There we go.
Maribelli. How
That's
about
great.
Maribelli?
Maribelli.
There you go.
Maribelli.
See,
There we
we're
go.
riffing now. We've
There
got
we
all
go.
kinds of band names. People are gonna want. They're gonna want them.
All right, we're back to
to the
Okay,
real
back to the
story.
story. Back to the story. So he was with his duo. I was playing as Alabama Brown, and we both had this gig at Baxter's 942. They called it Hot Country Nights. There was also a group called Bottom Sop that was playing there, and
I remember
it was a really fun gig. Jonathan insulted me the first time that we met, calling me Alabama Downtown Browntown. Downtown Browntown.
That's
In
a
a
good
real
band name.
snarky way too. It wasn't just what he said, it was
He
how
wasn't
he
being
said
fun,
it. He
huh?
wasn't being fun. But of course, over the next couple of weeks and months as we kept playing this gig, they had a little apartment over off Roofer and lived close, and we hung out, played music. The girl that I had play fiddle on my EP, Emily Caudle, amazing
Emily.
fiddle
Okay,
player.
yeah, I remember
She
Emily.
she was like a session player, but then she liked my music, and
What
she
is
was
Emily
like,
doing now?
She's a music therapist up in Indianapolis now.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal.
She is incredible.
Yeah, phenomenal.
And she liked what we were doing and was like, well, I want to be part of your band. And I was like, hey, do you guys kind of want to be part of the band? And then Emily became part of their band. Just how that works. Like, they need a fiddle player. I need somebody to
What
play
was that
bass, swapping players out. And so
Jay, what was the name of that band?
The one.
With Emily.
That was soft
Blunt
heat,
Honey.
right? No.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Emily
Blunt-
joined. Blunt Honey.
I remember Alabama Brown. I remember Blunt Honey. I remember Bottom Sop, or whatever it is. And then, I remember all these names. It's hilarious, dude. Because I remember Emily back in the day she was, worlds apart. She was just so good.
Yeah.
So anybody she played with, everybody kind of knew.
She elevated everybody,
Yeah,
she's
but
fantastic.
she wouldn't play with you unless you were good enough to be, to be elevated.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have that core that didn't need any real. I don't need to tell you I'm just going to come in, put some flavor on it.
She did. We'd sit down with a song, and within like one time playing it, she'd have the coolest fiddle riff that you've ever heard. And I'm like, that's exactly what, if I had the right amount of imagination, it would have sounded like in my head. Like it fits perfect in there. And she just like lays in and does those little like train pulls. She's so good.
Yeah.
And she was kind of, so she ended up playing with Blunt Honey. And then all that, Blunt Honey disbanded, Alabama Brown and the Inside Outlaws, that was our group name, pretty clever. That disbanded. We fell out of touch for some years. Then Jay and I started a duo back in 2019 called Soft Heat. And right when we were about to play our first show, it was Arbor Day of 2020. So that did not happen. He went and traveled for a bit. We kind of got caught up just in survival mode during that time of I don't even know what's going to happen. And we reconvened kind of earlier this year talking about what would that look like. He had been spending more time with Colby. And actually, I think one of our friends passed, Nikolai Curry. And I think Colby I'd hung out with a couple of times, but I didn't really know him that well. And when I went up to Seymour, Indiana, where they're from, for that funeral, I got to actually spend some time with Colby and hang out, so we were a little bit better acquainted. And then Jay was like, why don't you have Colby play drums? Like, that would be great. And then I can play bass, and we can kind of kick this thing off and really do it. And that's what we've been doing. We started rehearsing in the early summer and laying down tracks for this album, and it's been awesome.
So this kind of, I guess, would be an individual question. I guess, Sydney, we can start with you, considering, lyrically and musically, this is your baby, probably more so. What is the, because I don't know about you guys, but in here in this room, you hear it, and it's just like, it's so complete. It's
complete. That's why I don't remember if it was before we got cut off before, but as a trio, I'm really excited to hear what y'all sound like with the new member. But as a trio, holy fuck, you all are so good.
Yeah,
like,
we're just fucking getting started.
Yeah, man.
It is crazy, and to only have this be kind of a newer project. I know you all kind of played together a little bit, but it is so good as a trio. And I feel like, for me personally, when I was playing as a trio, I was very self-conscious about the sound. Like, I felt like it just wasn't full. And I'm not a great guitar player, but the dynamics that you all have as three people is fucking crazy.
It
the
really
songs
starts with her songwriting.
the songwriting is phenomenal.
Yeah,
It really is. And that's why I definitely agree with you. Like, songs like that, and even what you said earlier about when you have people coming up to you that want to play on your shit for free, you're in the right ticket. I have people that want to play on my stuff, but they still want their damn money. I'm happy to have them, but I gotta pay them bitches.
I think a lot of it is choosing who you want to play with too.
Absolutely. You've picked some good people. What you have here is really special, and that's really
it feels that way.
It is. I've been looking forward to this episode since Neil told me, and I've been listening to you, and I've heard of you for a long time. I see your name around everywhere, so to finally meet you and to hear you like this is like the coolest shit ever. Really, really is. You all are so good.
And I think there's a charm to it, hearing it as the three-piece before, even if it's just a record that you add parts on, or even if it's live, you add more pieces too. I love that we hear it in this room tonight like this, because it is so, like I said, I don't know where, you can always add flavors, you can always add instrumentation, you can always add beefiness to the sound and make it everything bigger. So I guess starting with you, Sydney, what is the vision for when you find, if at the end of this recording, at the end of this record, you had exactly what you wanted down as far as instrumentation, what do you hear that is needed to fulfill that's not in this, that's not already there?
I think one of the big things is like I love the rhythm section, but I'm not that strong of a guitar player. I can hold my own. I'm better with finger picking and I can, play the basic chords, but I can't even bar a chord. I love my capo, so I'm kind of limited. And I tried to teach myself a little electric guitar. I'm trying. It's not going well. It's a whole different ball game. But I think having some of that lead work to be able to add some flourishes and some flavor with some electric guitar, with some piano. Even as of right now, one of the tracks on the album, Jay puts his bass down and picks up a mandolin, and it just adds a different feel to the song. And he's such a dynamic musician that it felt like kind of crazy having him as my bassist. And not to say that like the bass isn't like a really important instrument and like the way he plays it is really special, but it's like he can play upright bass, electric guitar, he can play a little saxophone. He has a little saxophone.
The glockenspiel.
He can play glockenspiel, mandolin, like anything. He picks up piano and like with that, like any of the sounds like organ. So he's such like a diverse, plus harmonies. So I'm like, I want you up here with me and have somebody else on the rhythm section kind of holding that back so that we can kind of dig into more of that sound.
So do you... there's a part of that like Jay, I don't know what is your go-to bass? Is that where you feel in your comfort zone the most?
I honestly don't know anymore. It's just it depends on where I'm called.
What's needed?
Yeah, like I played upright bass and bottom stop for about a year, a long time ago, and like I wasn't necessarily a ripping upright bassist, but at the end of that, I was. And so, like, right now, I feel very much like a bassist, and I love playing it, and it is a very important position in a full band.
In a three-piece, it's super
and
important.
you kill it
Yeah,
out.
so
I mean,
important.
you're as him on the bass is about as good as, if not, this is about my 14th episode I've been in here. Dude, you hold down the bass as good as anybody that I've seen in here. Like, the stuff that you're doing, it's what Neil said, it's tasteful.
It's
and that's
choices. It's like... There's stuff that you could play super simple, or you could do the half step, just thing to add flavor. There's those little things that you do that I don't think that it's more musicianship than being a good bass player. It's knowing what to play instead of just
good ears. And not everybody has like that.
I kind of call it feeding the song.
Yeah.
Kind of just, she gave us the songs to fuck with, and
but we're
really
getting to an interesting
place
with it because we're recording them, and we're only a trio, and so like just today, like I was like working on keys parts, and he's in the room with me, and we're bouncing ideas around, and I'll try something, and he says if he likes it or not, but I'm noticing, I'm like, oh, I wish I'd shut the hell up on the bass a little bit here, because then I could do something with the keys, and now it feels like they're stepping on each other, and you don't get that when you have a full band and everybody, you learn your parts, she writes the songs, we all learn our parts, you go into the studio, you play your parts, you're done. But we're, like he plays banjo and acoustic guitar, she plays piano, like we all do a lot of different stuff. And so that's my favorite thing about recording is you get to just throw in all your spices and flavors and come out with something really unique, but it also creates an obstacle where if I were playing keys in this group for 6 months, the parts would be 6 months evolved. But now we're looking to lay them down on the record, but I'm only going to play these parts for like a week, if that, of a day. So it's kind of interesting how that is all working out, but so far so good.
You were talking about just off camera earlier, talking about comedy, and I talk about comedy a ton when it relates to music, and talking about having a week. It's like if you had an hour-long special and you had a week to prepare, your special is going to suck. But if you had an hour-long special that you had 6 months to develop and hit the clubs on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then hit the, it's not going to be what it was from the start. It's going to evolve so much based on other people's reaction in the band and what the feel is compared to what it was when you just heard it for the first time and were trying to fill space. That evolution, that'd be tough. It'd be interesting for you to try to figure out what you're going to do and get in the groove of that, just throwing on a recording track.
But you're a great musician. I'm sure, like I said before, you have good ears. So I feel like whatever you play is going to be good. Like,
for sure.
I at least want to trust that because I'm making an album and I hired everybody. So they just come in without really hearing much and come and play. So as good as you
I like
are,
that approach sometimes too.
I'm sure it was going to sound great. And all your recorded stuff already sounds so good. Like I've been listening to it since I knew you were on the podcast a whole bunch more, but I'd already listened to your stuff a bunch. I mean, it is killer. The productions on some of them songs are really good.
Very nice.
Thank you.
And you, Kobe, do you do the production on most of the stuff that's recorded?
Jay and I are working on that. Yeah.
Right on, man.
Y'all are good producers, like for
Well,
sure.
the stuff that
The stuff that's out is not
that's
what we
from
worked
other
on. Yeah.
sessions. So like the stuff that we've worked on with her still hasn't been released.
Okay.
Spring 2024, baby.
But you're
taking
tracking
it
that.
Spring 2024.
An independent
It's
approach at
it's been
tracking
laid down.
the album, and
You're tracking it at your house, Kobe.
yeah, we're doing all the tracking there. We're gonna take it off to Dead Bird.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Mix there.
Everything, I swear to you, everything I've heard out of Dead Bird.
Dead Bird does good work.
So good.
Dave
I've
is an
heard out of
awesome
Dead Bird's
person,
been
and his
awesome.
dog Bruce is my boyfriend. So
Yeah, I'm telling you,
Love you,
man.
Bruce.
I love the stuff. There's a lot of La La Land's amazing. The guys down in Franklin are amazing. Was that Liquid Sound? Damn it, Tyler and them. No, not Tyler. Look, editing this out. Who's our guys down in?
Franklin.
Yeah,
Thunder Sound?
Thunder Sounds. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, but yeah, everything that I've heard with
Dead Bird.
Dead Bird. Everything I've heard with Dead Bird recordings have been awesome. Like I went, oh my God, dude, everyone that I've really, really liked. So that'll be awesome.
Did you guys say this might be your last recording as a trio?
I don't know. We'll see. The guy who's coming in on bass is a musician, but recently got a bass and started learning stuff. And so we're gonna see. I laid down the bass tracks for the current album, and then the next one we'll see where he's at with it. If he's comfortable writing his parts and laying them down, sure we'll.
Well, and part of the breaking in will be as he's rehearsing the parts. It's great because Jay wrote the parts, and so that can be kind of the hard part. And so
that's not how you do it.
so he's teaching him, the parts. He's getting them, and he's rehearsing to that. And so the next step will be to play a couple of gigs, especially like lower stakes things. I think the Electric Forest, is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah,
they
that's
have
a
an
great
open
jam.
jam. So like
Forest
you can
on
play Wednesdays or Thursdays. Maybe
it's
it's like the
Wednesday. I
open
think it's
mic.
Wednesday.
Is it
Wednesdays.
Wednesday?
I think so.
So we'd consider that to where it's like he doesn't feel all that pressure of it being like a paid gig with like an audience, but it's an opportunity for him to play with us in front of people at an open mic. Open mics are the way to go, man. So we'll start doing that, and depending, this may or may not be our last as a trio. If he falls into the group and is confident and comfortable and liking it, and we're all liking it, then this may be it.
Well, it's also pretty awesome to go, hey, we got offered this thing on this date, and he can't do it, Jake. It's just, it's the trio.
Yep.
It's no big deal. Trio does
Yep.
it. We're good. We get paid a little bit extra a piece, and we have a good day, so whatever.
There you go.
Because it really, it's so good as a trio.
It's so
It's
good. It
as a
really
Thank
is.
you.
I mean, I'm blown away by it. I did not
Thank
know
you.
you all were just a trio. I kind of just assumed you'd have an electric guitar here as well, and I didn't miss it. Like,
No.
I mean, you don't.
No.
I'm
No.
sure it's always something extra, but you don't miss it just with
I
you
would
all.
say this too, Sydney. I wouldn't worry about the things you think you can't do on a guitar. It really doesn't matter. A capo can change all that. You don't have to do bar chords. You can figure, because the dynamics is where it's at. It isn't about how many places you can play an A chord and how many places you can play something else, or what open chords you can play wherever. It's all about the changes, the dynamics. I don't remember if it was the first song, Bad Tattoo Ballad, that has such a crazy change in it that it was just like catches you out of left. It might have been 67 Chevy. It might have been both of them,
probably all
because there's so many cool changes that it's not only changes, it changes rhythmically, which not a lot of people have the ability, and groups have the ability to do. So I would really I would really just, if I have any advice to you as a musician, don't worry about what you think you can't do, because you do so much with what you have already. It's just like, we're all just gushing over.
Yeah,
how good
you're
it is.
good. You were really good.
And
Like I
appreciate
said,
it.
Yeah.
I felt uncomfortable in a tree. I feel like anytime as a musician or you make art, you always feel a little self-conscious about it. You were fucking way better guitar player than me. Like I was blown away by the trio and the dynamics on that guitar, like especially finger picking as a trio. I personally had a tough time doing without like a full band. Just I felt like I would get off, but I mean, you hold it down.
Well, you think as a trio, and a guitar player in a trio, you have to fill up all this space.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you have to play harder and play more and make sure that's. I think that gets you in the wrong line of thinking.
Yep.
Because what the finger picking and the dynamics do is draw you in. They make you lean in to where sometimes, a ton of strumming and trying to get people to really just, it makes you kind of lean back instead of has that opposite effect. Maybe. But what I literally was leaning into everything that you guys were doing, paying attention, because you get a little bit of sense to like watch everything individually and see what's going on, because what you don't do, Jay's doing. What Jay's doing is locking in with Kobe. I mean, it's this unit, and it works so well together. I definitely still encourage you to have outside flavor and all that stuff, by all means. I'm not, but it's just so.
Yeah, you should be proud of what you have as a trio, because you don't see a lot of trios that are as cool as what you all just did.
Well, and I
I
think
love
like
this band.
I've gotten a lot more comfortable with like my playing since being in a group, because when I was playing solo, I have these cool like dynamic parts written, but there was only so much I could do with just an acoustic guitar. And being self-taught, I'm gonna tell you, like it doesn't come up often anymore, but when I was in my early 20s and I have this guitar, and apparently like I put on my capo the wrong way, I don't use a pick, I like anchor my fingers and kind of have a weird style because I'm self-taught. Like I didn't know how to do all these things. Like I had some guitar guys, you know what I mean? Like they'd make some like little shitty comments, and like it got into my head of like, making some little snide remark about how I play or whatever. And it did used to bother me. And I think just I hear so much when I write songs in like stuff that it felt not full enough with an acoustic guitar, and it was like, God, I wish like I could do so many things at once, and I can't. So now within this, they do fill it out. Like I'm really comfortable with my finger picking, and just over the years, I've got more comfortable with my individual style. I had somebody come up to me at my latest show at the Monarch, and was like, I've never heard a guitar really sound like that. You play with like the flat side of your thumb, and it gives it like this really unique quality that really sets you apart. And that's important in music, because there's only so many ways to play a guitar, and so many ways to play chords, that if you are doing something that has a really different sound, that's actually more of an asset than a liability. And it was like, So I've gotten a lot more comfortable and confident in my particular writing style and playing style, but it's also helpful that I don't have to worry about spicing up the dynamics when I'm just like playing chords and I hear all this other stuff, because they're doing that, like they're filling it in.
Yeah, and then every time you add a harmony line, anything like that, it makes that the vision that you, I'm sure, had when you wrote the song a little bit more complete.
It does.
Yeah.
And the harmonies are great. I say it every time we have someone who can sing harmonies, but your harmonies, man, are really, really tight. Sounds good.
And the choices, you know, it wasn't something that you overdid. You hit it when you needed to. Sometimes not even on the first verse through or first chorus through, coming through on that second one to try to just really kind of drive home what
there was
saying.
a couple times some harmonies came out that I wasn't expecting. And that's one of my favorite things in a band is harmonies. And I really am just blown away by the trio. You don't see it played like the way you just did it.
You know, I think about things about kind of what you were talking about a lot when it comes to artists and not necessarily just musicians or writers or anything, but you know, I think you can get so self-doubting that you want to that sometimes as an artist you try to go, well, should I sound more like this or more like these people or what? But to really be true to yourself, to really be true to what you're writing, and to kind of like with your finger picking, and there is something so unique and so, from just what I know about you in this room tonight, so you represented in what you're doing, that to change anything within that doubt sucks, basically, because I think that it takes a lot from artists. I think it takes a lot of people that could be a lot more original, and puts that doubt into them and makes them conform a little more, which I don't think you are there at all. You are so unique and original and do your own thing. That's one thing that I wrote on here is like who, I always like kind of guessing who people listen to growing up and what they're into now when they write, just because I'm like, there's only a few things. And with you, it was weird because I'm like, what in the world? I was getting like Carrie Underwood and Paramore vibes. It was so weird. It's like, what did you listen to growing up?
I'll say my top 3 male singers growing up, Bob Seger, Louis Armstrong, Connor Oberst. That's my trifecta. About as different as you can be, but loved them. Trying to think, female, gosh, it would probably be Lena Horne.
Okay.
Fiona Apple. Fiona Apple's big in my world.
Amazing.
I'm obsessed with her. Love her. And
she's still recording good records.
Yes,
she is.
Still recording good records.
I know, but she's never going on tour again, I feel like, and it really makes me sad.
I saw her live before, so it's all good.
Oh, don't do that.
Second
don't
row at the
gloat.
Palace.
Really? Oh, wow.
Open for Counting Crows back in the day, and she was amazing. It was her and a piano.
And that's all that she needs.
Amazing.
I'm obsessed with her. Her writing and her dynamics and her voice, just everything. That was a big part of growing up. I'm trying to think. If I had to pick a third, I really love vocally like Karen Carpenter. I think she is just spot on. And she played drums. Like she's just a cool like writer and all around incredible musician.
Yep.
So just
Really?
Yeah.
We've never talked. I'm a big Karen Carpenter.
Are you?
fan. We never talked about that before.
I thought
I love
we did
Karen
talk about
Carpenter.
that.
I'm a huge
And like
Going
Linda
there.
Ronstadt. Linda Ronstadt, love her too, but definitely some like 70s vibes, just all over the place.
Have you ever listened to Regina Spektor?
Yes.
Okay, because Ellie Ruth is a big Regina Spektor. At least I think she's a big Regina Spektor fan. But she mentioned listening to her when she was in, and that you kind of give me those vibes too, just because the dynamics are so.
The dynamics are crazy.
Yeah, it's just
It's so
good,
hard
man.
to do
So
dynamics
good.
like that.
Yeah.
Well, and we struggle with that to where I was like, I've just had to kind of settle in that and it's funny you mentioned Paramore because on their little Facebook profile, they say genre neutral. And I was like, I'm stealing that. That's mine now. Like, that's what we are. Because, I have influences from all over the place. Like, when I sit down to write a song, I can't help but write country shit, dude. I mean, it's like songs, there's like roosters and like lots of weird, like religious undertones in my song just because of how I grew up. And I kind of write somewhat in like a country format, but I have some like belting and some jazz in my voice, and then they have their own influences, lots of like 70s vibes going on. And so I'm like, I don't know what we are. Like, I don't know how to
It's
describe
Ameri-Kinda.
us.
Hey, you know what?
Ameri-Kinda.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. When I listen to, I don't hear country. I
Yeah.
don't hear anything.
I don't either.
I
Area.
hear the Americana stuff. I feel like I'm the same way where
Americana, dude.
when I don't I'm not really a country dude. I grew up in Louisville. I grew up in the city. Like
You sing country.
I sing country music though. That's what I write. Like I don't consider myself that country, but that's just what comes out.
Yeah, you're
like,
not
it's
real
just
country.
I'm not. It's just
Well,
what
I
I
think-
write.
Like as Alabama Brown and the Inside Outlaws, it was heavily country. There's a song we just had the discussion. I'm like, maybe we should save that as a single and not put it on the album because it's like it's so country that it like doesn't fit in with everything else, right? So I think my writing style has evolved and like what they add to it. When we first started recording the album, speaking of that self-doubt, like I just got in this like weird place to where I was really indecisive and I didn't know what direction to go in musically. I'm like, I have all these songs that I've written and I want to do something. And back in like the Alabama Brown days, it was very simple. It's like, all right, if this is country music, you need a fiddle fiddle, maybe a little mandolin, some upright bass. Let's cook it, you know? Pretty easy from that standpoint. So with this album, I was like freaking out because I had, the two releases I had, one's like this like kind of heavy alternative song. The other one's kind of this like dreamy atmospheric song. And I don't know, I got like really in my head about it. And I'm like, we're releasing a country and western album. So like they're like listening to these songs and they're like, if you want a country and western album, write fucking country and western music, Sydney. Like that's not how this works. And it took me like probably a couple of weeks into us like playing together to kind of let go of this image of myself as Alabama Brown, as like a country artist, as like that's what I'm supposed to do, that's what I write, and really just kind of lean into the life that these songs took on after they started playing with it and we started leaning in. And now I'm like, oh, we want to put cello on it? Sure. Like what some organ? Like I've really let go of my attachment to any specific genre or sound and letting each song kind of unveil what it needs and rolling with it.
I think that's a genius move.
Yeah, I mean, you should write what comes natural, but not put yourself in a box. I'm in the process of making an album now too, and I don't consider myself that country, but I do write country stuff. And now the album, like I had to just kind of swallow my pride and be like, there's some songs on here that maybe aren't that country, but I like them, and I'm going to put them on here.
Yep.
And it is what it is.
The one you sent me from the Monarch.
Yeah, it's not very country.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's killer. It has a crazy. Just like get
I was listening to
it.
Joe Crocker, like feeling all
that's
right.
what it sounds like. You were listening to Joe Crocker, dude, for sure. Yeah, it's killer.
How about some questions?
All right, I forgot we even have questions.
Shut up, Brad.
Sorry, Brad. I feel like I'm talking too much in my corner.
There ain't no such thing, man. We had 6 podcasts already in this on this podcast. We can ask as many as we want.
All right, so tell us something about yourself, non-musical. People might be interested to know about you.
You're up. Non-musical.
Me?
Non-musical.
Yeah, we're going
just
down
one
the
at a
line.
time.
I'm really into gargoyles and gargoyle
Interesting.
culture.
Okay.
So there's like some meetups in the park and stuff, and everybody like dresses like gargoyles and hangs out. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you for that. It's really vulnerable and special, Jay. Something non-musical that people might be interested to know
All right,
about
just,
me.
Anything. Fun fact.
Yeah, so I've got
anything.
like a weird day job that people don't understand. I actually own a business here locally. It's co-own. I have a business partner, and it's called Louisville Lymphatic Center, and we specialize in post-operative lymphatic drainage, which means people go and get major surgery, and they get swollen, and we make them unswollen. So I get to deal with like 48 hours after surgery, incisions, wild medical stuff, and I love it. I love it.
Love that job.
Oh
Do you
my
get
gosh.
like drain pus and stuff?
Like, well, we get to
gross.
strip drains, like the drains that they have, the JP drains. Like, we'll glove up and kind of like strip those. But it's also about like moving fluids. So you can watch a person like shrink before your eyes. Like,
you have to be like some
routing that.
sort of certified medical something.
So
or other?
I'm a licensed massage therapist. A lot of our employees are either massage therapists or nurses. We tried to hire. It's easier to teach a nurse the bodywork techniques to do this than it is most massage therapists, the amount of anatomy that they need to pull this off. Amy and I have little bits of like medical background, my business partner, so we kind of came to it. But it's awesome. I love what I do. I get to see really interesting cases. We do a lot of cosmetic surgery, weight loss surgery, orthopedic, some general surgery, some cool like facial surgeries, facial reconstruction. And I just...
Very
you
cool.
would like that?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd be into that.
I'm a
dude.
vet tech, so I see gross stuff all the time.
Are you?
So, yeah, my wife's a veterinarian, so is her dad.
We were
so
talking about
I
pus
see-
yesterday.
Yeah, I had to squeeze a whole bunch out of my finger from a dog bite.
Oh,
so.
it's like watching Dr.
Yeah,
Pimple
are you
pop.
on the
It's
mend,
so
man?
satisfying.
Are you okay, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. So
Man, Earl was in
hanging
the
there.
hospital.
I
right-
was.
Shit.
Yeah.
So Earl was in the hospital like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Wednesday
got
night.
out in time for Thanksgiving, and then healed up in time to play guitar and sing some songs of the Monarch
Well,
on
shit.
Saturday.
I did.
He's been trooping.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be
Yeah,
out.
congratulations on being alive.
Yeah.
Still
Made it
living.
out.
That's
All right,
right.
Kobe, what you got going on?
Something non-musical people might be interested to know about you.
I just like being a family guy. Really, I'm just a musical dude, so there's not much else there. I like being a dad.
How many kids?
I'm also in a weird club, the Gnome Club. We like to meet up and fuck with the Gargoyle Club at the park. And
whatever, dude. The Gargoyle Club doesn't even fucking recognize the Gnome Club. It's a different universe.
No, I like riding my Harley. That's one thing I really love doing.
What kind of Harley you have?
It's an old sporty. Got it from my dad.
Oh,
Cool.
sweet.
Yeah. Kept it in the family. So.
All right, how about a nightmare gig? What's a nightmare gig that comes to mind?
You want to kick us off? Nightmare gig.
Once we did this podcast and they didn't press record at the beginning of it.
What's your fucking question?
But then, like, partway through, there was like a screensaver on the same screen, and now that scares me that maybe it's not.
That we're gonna have to do the podcast again.
And we're starting over right now from the beginning again.
Yeah, sorry to tell you.
Nightmare gig. I don't.
Or something like something funny or interesting that's happened during a gig. I know sometimes you hope you don't have too many nightmare stories, but just something noteworthy that
Maybe
you've
it's
had.
the best gig you ever
He has
had.
too many. He
Maybe the
has
best
several
gig.
nightmare
Standout
stories.
Standout
Lots of
gig. Might be your best
embarrassing.
gig ever.
We played Gonzo Fest one time, and at the end of our set, I was the last one off the stage, and it was like a raised stage, and they had a curtain background, and I thought there were like poles holding the curtain on the side, and I ran. I was like, "Good night," and I ran and like tried to jump and like grab the pole and like swing around and thought it'd be this cool exit, and there was like no pole, and I just fell like 8 feet off the stage, and like everybody saw it. Like my friend sent me a video, and there was like a bunch of people laughing, and I just like fell off the back of the stage. That wasn't a nightmare, but
That's good.
it didn't look cool.
Not a fun experience.
I'm trying to think. And this wasn't like a circumstantial, it was a nightmare for me. It wasn't anything to do with what was going on. So my buddies started building a bar in 2019. Are you familiar with Planet of the Tapes?
Oh, hell
Such a cool
yeah.
spot.
Love it there.
So like Jim Bob, I was playing keys with him on my quest to like start a band. We kind of played together for a little bit, and he ended up stopping. He's like, "Look, I got to put my focus and attention into like building this bar and creating this with my buddy." And I was like, "Totally cool, right?" And they opened, and then the pandemic happened like really soon after that. So he contacted me, and he's like, "Sydney, is there any way that you'd be open to doing like a live stream gig here to help like raise some funds so we can keep the doors open?" And I was like, "Absolutely. What do I need to do?" And they're like, "You're just going to show up. There's going to be a camera. Like, we're going to record you. People will buy tickets, and that's how we'll kind of collect the money instead of it being like a Facebook Live or anything. But they can kind of comment and this, that, and the other." And I was like, "Cool." So like I get there, and I'm at the Planet of the Tape stage, and the venue is completely empty, and there's like one guy in the corner running sound, and then like this in front of me. And I was like, he's like, just start whenever. And I was like, cool. So I was playing, and then it's a really weird feeling. Like the first song I did all right, and then I stopped. And like there's no clapping, there's no like feedback, and like it started like getting to me. Like I started getting like really, my banter was terrible. I never want to see that film ever. I was like rambling, and I was nervous, and I started shaking, and then it progressively just snowballed to where like I'm forgetting words to my own song. Like it just rattled me so much, like not having any feedback or any. That's why I asked. I was like, "Are you guys gonna clap? Like, can you please? Like, this is really uncomfortable. I have trauma around this." And like I was really glad to do it, but also like I had no idea how many people were watching, who was watching. It wasn't like an interactive experience. It was really unsettling to me. And so like I bombed, dude. Like I like completely messed up like 3 of my songs. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, bye, have a good night. Like, and scurried off the stage, and I'm like, I'm never playing music again. I feel horrible about myself and my life and my musical abilities. That was terrible. And again, not anything to do with the venue themselves or the gig itself. Just I will not do that again. Like be live streamed without at least somebody doing something, because it did not go well.
Well, here's
for me.
the good news. The good news is that place is still around, and
It is.
everybody that I've talked to that plays it loves it.
I played there recently. I had a great time.
Yeah.
I would definitely play again. I hate though. Yeah, I've done shows with no people and no one claps, and you're like, fuck, what do I say? Most of my set is like rambling. I'm like, when there's no one to talk to, I'm like, I'm gonna run through these songs quick. It's tough.
Colby, nightmare gig? Any nightmare?
I haven't had any nightmare gigs.
Kobe's
Probably
easy, man.
just a hypothetical. I wouldn't want to see anybody like get hurt at a show or something,
Yeah.
or anything like that.
What about a great gig you've had?
It's a dad.
What about a great gig you've had? What's the best gig you've had?
What's your favorite
Just
gig?
recently, we had an awesome gig at the Monarch.
Yeah,
It was
love
cool.
that. I mean, we love the Monarch. That's all we talk about.
All of these shows, the handful of shows we've played have been great. It's always a great time to me. I enjoy everything about it. The travel, the lugging the gear around, everything.
Can I go again on a bad gig?
Yeah.
Yeah, go
I thought
ahead.
of one.
Okay.
When Blunt Honey was a duo, we booked a gig in Cincinnati at a place called the Grand Old Pub. And we were like cruising in a sedan, and we had an upright bass that would only fit in the passenger shotgun. So Sean would drive and I would sit right behind him. We drove to Cincinnati and we played this place, and we got there and realized it was a Republican themed bar. And the owner named it Grand Old Pub or Grand Old Party, and they called it the GOP. And we played under a frame photo of Ronald Reagan. And then at the end of the night, they hated us because like as soon as I knew it was even if it was a Democrat bar, I would have roasted anybody that's going to open a bar and be like, this is a Republican establishment. And so I talked my mouth off the whole night, and then they wrote us a check for $75, and we had to call the owner back to the bar to cash the check so we could get home. We had no money, spent our gas money to get there, and then just kind of both rode home in silence.
You
one
behind
in front of
Sean.
me.
Little tandem bicycle action
Exactly.
going.
Tandem
That's a
bike
great
all the way
visual.
back to Louisville.
Oh
That
boy,
gig sucked.
that's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
GOP, baby.
What you got there, Kobe?
This is our mascot.
So
my husband.
that's my husband. It's not
Mascot.
your husband. This is actually a picture of
is
my
our husband.
This is our husband. This is the band's husband. So a friend made that for my bachelorette party so that my husband could be in attendance without being in
That's
attendance.
killer.
And then
Slide
it
him
made
in there
it.
next to Sydney.
Yeah. Then
I'll just do this. Like,
there you go. This is David. He's amazing.
Hi, David.
And he we brought it to the wedding, and everybody was obsessed with it and started like dancing with it. Like it's in half of our wedding videos because they call it Flat David. Like that's the name now for it. And then, these guys saw it and they're like, we got to make merch out of it. Like, let's put it on the drum. Like we got to do some Flat David stuff. And then even like we got to have him up on stage at some point, just like sitting there being himself.
He
So it
needs a
just
song.
comes, like, he comes with us wherever
David's
we
the
go.
shit. He's with us everywhere we go.
Yeah,
David's got a killer stash, man.
It's great.
I
I
was
know.
going to say the same
We
thing.
He
love
I'm
only
jealous of
grows
his
it out
stash.
for like 2 months out of the year. He grew that specifically so that we could be Leslie Knope and Ron Swanson for Halloween. It was great. I did the episode where she had half of her hair permed. And so it was, but everybody was divided on the mustache. Half of the people loved it. Half of the people were like, it's too much. Like it's Tom
ridiculous.
Selleck
Yeah.
level. Like that's a lot of mustache for 2023
I mean,
on a
where-
38-year-old man.
He
Like
needs
that's
a Hawaiian shirt
I
about
know.
3 buttons down.
That might be a future Halloween costume,
What's
but it's
up?
a powerful stash, and they did a great job of capturing it.
Tell you
the
what,
likeness.
you put a Hawaiian shirt on that man right there, you might raise my dead grandmother from the ground with some Tom Selleck
There'd be a
back.
lot
Like
of
Tom
grannies
Selleck.
coming out of the
Yeah.
grave. Be a lot of them popping up. Get the shades too, the aviators. It's over.
All right, how about who's a local artist you've listened to recently, or somebody you just want everyone to know about?
Caleb Elliott.
Caleb
He was
Elliott.
awesome.
Yeah, he's from. We played with him. He's from. I think he's living in Muscle Shoals, Alabama right now.
Oh,
He
cool.
plays cello and guitar. He's got a really, really cool sound. He just came out with an album called Weed, Wine, and Time, and that track off
already
of
like
his
him.
album is the #1 played song at the Monarch Jukebox.
Oh, dope.
It's got such a cool feel to it. So yeah,
Both of his full-length records are really, really good.
Yeah.
Very like Beck meets George Harrison.
Oh, sweet.
Chill, great songwriting vibe, cool melodies, cool guitar melodies.
Beck meets
Just
George.
very
Sweet.
talented.
Very kind person to be. So.
yeah, he was fantastic.
He looks like Chris Cornell too.
He does. He has that vibe.
Not Chris Cornell now,
No.
but like Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell looks like my dead grandmother.
Oh my.
That's true.
Here we go. All right, the local act I've been listening to. So I love the front woman for this act is a dear friend of mine, Shitfire. Have you heard Shitfire? They call themselves trash thrash. They're kind of like yee punk rock music. Lots of crocs and lots of electric guitar. They're a wild time. But so there's songs like Yellow Belly and In Your Head that I absolutely love. And she's like a wild front woman. You know what I mean? Like she's like out there rolling around, screaming. It's fantastic. But on this latest EP, they put this song that's like completely different than any of their other songs and did this really like kind of haunting Western song called Old Time, and they released a music video to go with it that has very like True Blood, you know, the intro to True Blood, that show, that
I've
trailer.
been rewatching it, yeah.
Like that intro scene, like that kind of vibe to it. We're very like Southern Gothic, and it's incredible because I've known that she's like an amazing singer, but a lot of what she's doing with Shitfire is very like kind of like screaming and yelling and all that. But this song really like showcases her softer vocals, so it's just been on repeat. I'm like obsessed with this song right now, and I'm like, I hope they do more cool stuff with that of kind of diverting. They're working on a full length right now too. They put on one of the best live shows I've ever been to. I mean, they pack a room out full of kids at these all ages shows that are just losing their minds, and it's so fun to be a part of.
Who's the lead singer?
Hannah Blakeman.
I know I've heard Shitfire.
Yeah,
Yep,
I
Shitfire.
follow them on stuff. Yeah, they're awesome.
They make cool music videos too. I'm really into music videos. I love bands that do that. And they have one where they're like dressed as almost like Lord of the Rings characters, and they're like going to battle a wizard, and there's all this CGI. Like they're just so cool. They're so fun. They're a great group. What
So
about
our
you?
listeners that want to.
Wait. You gotta ask Jay, man.
We gotta get Jay.
Yeah.
What's
Last
that?
local act.
Local act that
Oh,
you've
it was
been listening
local.
to.
I messed that up.
No, Caleb, he's been around. It's close.
Yeah, I
enough.
don't know of any. I don't live in Louisville.
Regional.
So
What
I
about
don't
to
know.
you?
What's your
What's
area?
local to you? Who do you like?
What's the Japanese thing you've been listening to?
Well, it's not local.
It's not.
Been listening to a bunch of Japanese 70s pop music that everyone
rips.
else hates, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm listening to any regional.
Well, tell us the Japanese stuff you've been listening to.
It's a song called Summer Connection by
Can't pronounce that.
yeah, hold on, I'll get it. I know my Japanese 70s artist, man. Don't yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what her name is. If you Google
Summer Connection.
Summer Connection,
Google
Japanese
Summer Connection.
70s pop.
There we go.
That's what I got.
All right.
Now you can go.
So our listeners that want to follow you a little more closely, where can they find you? On the socials and
Oh yeah, we got we're keeping it at Sydney Sleadd. I have the Instagram, Facebook. I have a TikTok that I post little snippets to. I have a website. Just find me anywhere. I've started getting a little bit more bold on social media too. It's hard. I think I get that same playing a tape sensation, like filming myself. I get like really weird about it. To where it's a hard process for me. But I did one of me trying to do my best George Jones impression, and I got close. Like it was pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's really good.
The people told me I was on the right track anyway.
yeah, I saw that.
So I've
yeah.
just been being a little bit more playful and posting little reels and stuff instead of just like show dates and stuff. So any of the apps, it's just under Sydney Sleadd.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you having you in
Thank you.
Yeah, y'all
Thank
are awesome.
you.
Hey, thanks for the patience.
here. Top Hill Recording Studio B, Session 1 in the books.
It's a wrap.
Appreciate
It's a
that.
wrap.
Appreciate you all.
Woo.